I was so excited to get you on because the chats always are like flying so much on TimCast, but people love you. Like you really, I don't think you got into producing to culminate fans.
I did not. Nope. I did not want a camera at first. I was like, I don't feel like this is important. And Tim was like, well, you're a lady and like it or not, ladies are a draw. And I was like, okay, well, I can try to, I want to help. I want to help the show grow and everything. And I liked the idea of being the chick on the dude show, having them kind of run the conversation, being behind the scenes and kind of giving my 2 cents. Because I don't know that I could carry on a conversation for 2 hours every single night. I'm a little bit introverted, so that might actually, that's a lot. And Tim he has no upper limit on words he can speak. So it's like, he just goes and goes. I'm like, how do you do it, dude? Like, take it easy, man. But yeah, like I was kind of thrust into it. So I'm excited to be where I am. And I love everybody who's been like really nice to me. The internet has been really kind to me for the most part.
And I think it's because you have been your genuineness and your authenticity like really comes across. I think that's like you attract what you put out there. And it's like, yeah, you have genuine fans because you're not sitting there with your tits out every night. You're not like
I can't. I don't really have anything. Like, I'm just going to keep it low key. I'm just kind of try to keep my focus on what I have to say and everything. But I noticed that if you're not genuine, it becomes very hard. I'm very forgetful. I have really short-term memory. I almost have short-term memory loss. And I'm like, I can't keep lies up. I can't keep a facade up. There's no way I can have any kind of persona other than just myself. It's simpler. It's easier. Also, I'm lazy. So there's like an element of I just want to chill. I just kind of want to be myself for the most part. That makes it a lot easier.
I see a lot of comments like sometimes like flying in the chat or even on Twitter, like, oh, let Lydia speak. We need to hear more from her. And it's interesting that you said that before, like you would prefer not to run the conversation. I'm the same way. Like a lot of times, like that's what I love about this podcast. Like I love listening and I love like I'll hear an interesting nugget and then I'll be like, let's explore that more. Like I just interviewed a friend, John Paul Rice, yesterday for my Rockfin channel. And then he called me 20 minutes later to apologize. He's like, I'm sorry. Do I just run the conversation? Do I just like that? And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't know if this is a classically female trait, but I was like, I don't enjoy running a conversation. Like I like to, if it's a lot of people, I'll jump in with like a funny joke or a pun or something, but I like to listen and then like steer. And I wonder if you feel the same way. Like, I don't know if this is like a traditionally female trait, but like just
that's an interesting question. It might be a female thing. It might be, I don't know if you're a little bit more introverted like I am, because that can also be a factor too. But it's very much like maybe it's a people thing where you want to kind of facilitate this conversation. I feel sometimes like people come on TimCast IRL and then they don't talk as much as I would like them to. Like we have people who are super, super smart almost every single night. And I'm like, I just want them to just, spill the beans, talk about everything that they know. But there's a conversation. Tim has these things that he wants to talk about. We want to cover certain news stories. And it's like, I understand Tim needs to guide it. But before the show, when I'm talking with the guests, we will get down. We'll just chill. We're just chatting. And I will try to get them to talk as much as I can. Because I'm like, I want to know. And then, because oftentimes during the show, you'll be like, yeah, Lydia and I were talking about this before the show. Lydia and I were talking about this on the drive. And I'm like, yes, that's the way I want it to be. Because I don't want to, exhaust them before they get on screen. But I want to be like, okay, here's what we might talk about. Here's something interesting, and just kind of open it. Because if you do that, people have all sorts of interesting things to say. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Desiderata, and this is a little bit esoteric.
No.
It's this poem. It's not a poem. It's like a piece of prose, and it just talks about kind of the best ways to live your life.
Oh my God, literally, this is the super chat that came in. Lydia, what's your favorite Stoic quote? That's so funny.
Great timing. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a nerd in that regard. Let me finish this Desiderata thing because it's kind of important and it kind of ties into what my guests and how I function with them. The Desiderata says to treat everyone equally because it doesn't matter what level they're at, whether you think they're like an important person or not. They have something interesting and new and different to tell you. And that Jordan Peterson talks about that as well. As far as a favorite Stoic quote, I'd have to think. I love all of them, man. Every single one of them. I think that Marcus Aurelius is one of the smartest, possibly the most underrated guy. And I really liked Epictetus because he wrote like a dad talking to his kid. He's like, I really care about you. Here's what I think you should do. I was like, I appreciate feeling like the person that I'm reading cares about what I'm going through. I thought that was really neat. So, but yeah, that's what I try to do with my guests. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. I just want to listen to people talk.
I know that feeling, Lydia, because like a lot of times, and it's a guest I'm talking to before either like this podcast or Wet Spot on Compound Media, like they'll start to go into a funny story from the weekend, and I have to be like, no, save that. Like, don't blow this load just in the waiting room here. Like, save it for the podcast, which is an odd thing. You never want to shut off somebody's flow.
We have to do that too sometimes. We're like, hold it. Sometimes Tim with Ian will be like, nope. No talking. We're talking about the weather now because we can't, like, we don't want to have to like rehash it fully on the show again. But it's like you want to get people into the mode where they're thinking about it, like, but maybe they won't spit everything out beforehand. You know, it's kind of challenging. It's a little bit tricky sometimes, and you don't want to make them feel like they're repeating themselves. But
do you ever
kind of talking to them?
Do you ever feel like while the show is going on, you're like, oh, I want to help draw this person out. Maybe they are being a little timid, or maybe like Tim is on a roll. Do you ever think like, oh, should I, like, are there things that you do to try to like draw a guest out, or you just figure like, all right, you're on your own, buddy?
No, I sometimes will do that with my ladies. I did that with a couple of my ladies who seemed to be a little bit shy. And I was like, okay, so I know there's guys. I know that Tim is a strong personality. And I wonder if I jump in and ask them things from a female perspective, if they'll have an easier time like engaging with the guys. And then they can talk to Tim, but I can be like, all right, yeah, so I understand what you're saying. I see where you're coming from. And that way, usually what happens is they're kind of timid at first. Then once we kind of get rolling, everything's a little bit easier for them. That's what I try to do. And unless I have a guy who's I haven't had many guys who are super shy. A few of them have been kind of indecisive at first, but you usually just kind of get them rolling, and Tim's pretty good about handing off to them if he feels that they need to jump in. So
you know what it is? It's like you always have such good guests on the show. I'm not just saying that because I did it once. But like,
I love my guests.
It seems like the times we're in right now, like really challenge and call up people to be more outspoken and like really fight, whether like we're fighting to get our freedoms back or fighting just to like against call for a more outspoken person. And maybe that is why most of your guests are not shy. They're just like, no, it's like if you've gotten to this point where they have like your and Tim's attention and you have them on the show, it's like, yeah, they're here. They have a message. They have passion. They have shit they want to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair.